BVB want Jude to sign a new deal. His current one ends in 2025, but with an £80 million release clause. Jude said he wanted to play for Liverpool this summer. This video is being brought to you with thanks to Surfshark. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to browse websites in other countries and keep you safe and secure from hackers. Surfshark allows you to virtually travel the world with just the tap of a finger. As an example, we here in Ireland can What is Afflix? We here in Ireland can watch other countries' Netflix libraries, unlock UK services such as BBC iPlayer, and of course that all-important Spanish DAZN account for football. Surfshark keeps you safe and secure by covering up everything that you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all this information is, in a way, blurred out. This is particularly effective when you're out and about on public Wi-Fi, maybe you're in college or at a cafe. It keeps your information safe and secure from hackers. With a Surfshark, just ask Surfshark. Just here, have a Surfshark. Johnny? Mildred, Surfsharks? Surfshark allow you to use unlimited devices on just one subscription, meaning if you so wish, you can grant access to your friends and family. On top of that, Surfshark offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it, they refund you. It is that simple. Our sign-up offer gives you a whopping 83% off. That's right, I did say 83% off and 3 months additional free. Simply scan the QR code on your screen right now or use the link in the description, putting in the code Anfield Agenda at checkout. I respect your valiant effort to stop talking about Bellingham, said Sean. I gave it my best. You know what I mean? I gave it my best. I tried to stay on the outside. I tried to say nothing. But they just kept dragging me back in, and here we are. Here I am. How we doing? Loads to go through tonight. We'll talk about Newcastle, Spurs. We'll talk about United City in the FA Cup final. You know, we might even talk about a certain Brummie. Maybe. So, my friends, do you like apples, motherfuckers? Do you like apples? Do you? Come on. Tell Craigo. How do you like the apples of me being absolutely correct all along? Make your stupid TikToks, try and be funny, take the piss out of me, try slag me off, talk about my sources, mock our channel, undermine us. Ultimately, as I always told you, he who laughs last, laughs longest. And I've known all along what I've told you was true. Now the world gets to see that what I told you was true. There is one club that Jude Bellingham wants to play for, and one club alone. That club is Liverpool Football Club. And the reason why he hasn't gone anywhere else yet is for that very fucking reason. Because he only wants to play for the Reds. Now, my friends, let's go into journalist talk, because it isn't me. I'm not out there spouting these stories. I've tried to keep quiet. I've tried to say nothing. But let's go into the details, shall we? And let's look at a couple of posts today. So, Jacques Talbot says, Bellingham info. Here Liverpool had been chatting to Dortmund and Jude for ages. Where did you guys hear that before? That's right. This guy. BVB want Jude to sign a new deal. His current one ends in 2025, but with an £80 million release clause. Jude said he wanted to play for Liverpool this summer. So you're saying the bald Irish idiot was correct? So you're saying the bald Irish idiot knew all along that he was sitting on a gem of a story? Let's continue. Next up, we'll go to our friends at LFC Transfer Room. What they've said is, Dortmund want to extend Jude Bellingham's deal with an £80 million release clause to be activated next year to keep him for another season. Liverpool did make an offer of a little bit higher than £85 million because they knew Bellingham wanted Liverpool this summer. So, again, I say to you all, you giggly little fucks out there that try to undermine and take the piss out of what I said, how do you like them apples, bitches? Woo! This doesn't mean he's going to come to us this summer. This doesn't mean everything's nailed on. But what it means is exactly what I've been saying all along. That your Manchester Cities, your PSGs, your other clubs can go and offer money. But unless there is 3 parts of this triangle that link up, that is a valuation from Dortmund, a bid from a club, and an acceptance of wanting to go to the club by the player, unless all those 3 things line up, then there's no deal. So what I've always known is that there's 2 sides of this, the Liverpool part wanting him and the Bellingham part wanting us, I knew about. I knew undoubtedly that that's what he wanted. Now we just have to see if we can find a way. Now look, the big question in all of this is, what happens this summer if that is the case? Now let's not get ahead of ourselves. Nothing is in concrete just yet. Nothing's set in stone. But I guess the question that went through my mind when I read this is, okay, I can understand how that makes sense. Dortmund could keep him for a year. Liverpool could get him for a set fee. And we could show that we'll be back in the Champions League. But it doesn't change the perspective of what we want this summer, which is a refreshed midfield. So trying to strike that balance, it's going to be a difficult one for us as fans to swallow, because unless there's a Naby Keita style deal where we know 100% that Jude will be coming to Liverpool next summer, then it will just leave doubts about, are we going to cheap out this summer with that vision and that dream over here, or are we going to follow through? And as much as, I'll come on, do the laughy, ha-ha, jokey, giggly bit, it does make me wonder what way the club are really going to pursue this and go. And it is interesting. So look, before we get into it, let me ask you guys, what do you think will happen? What do you think is the most likely outcome this summer for Liverpool? And of course, in the long term for Jude Bellingham. I think, being a democratic channel, this is probably the fairest way we can do it. The I Told You So tour will be incoming, Liz. Yes, it will be coming to a city near you very soon. Now look, again, I didn't bring this stuff back up. I tried to say nothing. I tried to just give the club the benefit of the doubt, but the stories just keep coming out because, and I can't say this clearly enough, Jude wants to be a cop-out. Jude wants to play in front of the Reds. Jude wants to be Liverpool's midfield maestro. We are the epitome of next summer FC. Oh, Death Strider, mate, I'm with you. And it is annoying, right? It is annoying to constantly be next summer FC. But if this is true, I don't know if this is how it plays out. There has been quite a few journalists over the last few weeks who've said that the possibility of Jude remaining at Dortmund for another year is there. And there's some more journalists that said that he just doesn't want to make a move that he may regret, that he wants to be 100% certain that the next move at this stage in his career is the right move. And again, I understand that. And I've said to you guys all along that there are certain things that he will want for his next move. And there are certain places that he won't want to go for obvious reasons. People, again, like to try and be funny and talk about Real Madrid throwing money around. And look, Madrid were the club I was worried about. They were the ones that had me nervous. But Manchester City I've never been concerned about for Jude Bellingham because it's not a good fit. But right now, it's back on the table, I think is the fairest way to say it. Will you just jet over to Dortmund and get the deal done? I wish, Canters, because if you put me in a room with him and his family for 10 minutes, just give me the contract, because he'll be coming out, it'll be signed. We'll all be coming out in tears. That's what happens. You know what I mean? Arms around each other, singing, there's something that the cop wants you to know. And I know he's not Firmino, but I know I'd imagine they're a big fan of Firmino, I mean. Mason Mount. Let's move on to Mason Mount for 1 minute, because this may tie it all together a little bit. So Florian Plettenberg of Sky Germany has been speaking about Mason Mount. And this is a really confusing article. And it'll become apparent why it's confusing in a minute. So the Echo ran with a story based around these Florian Plettenberg comments, and they say Sky Sports Germany reporter suggests that the biggest stumbling block for Mason Mount for a move is his wage demands. And that sounds grand, like I'm not saying that's weird, but here's where it gets weird. It goes on to say that his reported wage demands are between €5 million and €15 million a year. So €5 million, 100 grand a week, versus €15 million, about 300 grand a week. So my question is, who's he willing to play for 100 grand a week, and who's he looking for 300 grand a week from? If this is true, it is a very weird thing to say that his wage demands vary from 5 million quid a year to 15 million quid a year. There's a bit of a differential between those two, and it sounds very strange to me. Now, the article goes on to say that as well as Liverpool, of course, being interested, Manchester City are interested. And I guess my answer to this is, have him. Go ahead. Work away. Because as much as I wouldn't mind Mason Mount at Liverpool, it's never been a signing that has really excited any of us, that has really got us up off our seat. It always felt to me like it would be a tick the homegrown quota box and he's kind of available type of signing, rather than one that we'd be chomping at the bit to get done. So if Manchester City want him, I'd say have at it, lads, work away, because I don't want Liverpool committing that much to a player when I feel like there are better options, like Kefren Thuram as an alternative. I've been looking at, I know they're not like for like midfielders, but I'm just talking about the fact we need midfielders. He's had quite an impressive season for Nice. I was looking into it a little bit earlier on. He's played every game. Now, he hasn't started every game, but he's played in every single one of, I think it's 44 games that Nice have played so far this season. I think he came on as a substitute in 5 of those. He also comes from very good stock, of course, his father being a World Cup winner himself. He's 6'3". He's physical, he's athletic, he ticks a lot of the boxes of what Jurgen Klopp would want. And I'm starting to see more and more credible accounts really spouting propaganda in a good way. I mean that in a fun, nice way, not in a kind of trying to fill us all full of shit way, but really starting to push on this one. I'm being honest here, I haven't seen much about this, of him. I haven't watched much of Nice, so I'm reliant completely on you guys to keep me up to date on the Thuram stuff, because I don't watch Ligue 1 very often, unless I'm watching PSG for a bet or something. So, but his stats look really good, having glossed over them. And I haven't seen a price, but I would imagine 35, 40 million quid maybe, at a guess. And by the way, I'm with everybody in the chat who says McAllister over Mount any day. Every single one of you I agree with 100%. And there is a homegrown quota to meet, which we can't just ignore as a club, but I'd rather meet that quota with exciting young players than going out there to sign the likes of Mason Mount, who hasn't had a great season at Chelsea. Like, if Mason Mount had a brilliant season and Chelsea just couldn't afford to keep him on or wanted to free up money for FFP, then maybe this would be more understandable, but he's not coming off the back of a very good season, is he? So McAllister for me would be a great fit. And watch the game today between United and Brighton, and I was impressed by McAllister, and Caicedo showed both sides of his game today. He showed why he's so sought after, but he also showed that he's not the finished product yet, Caicedo. He was slack in possession on a few occasions. A couple of balls he tried to play around the corners out of defence went straight to United players. One went out of play. So it was a mixed bag. And look, weirdly, I know we're all disappointed that both Manchester clubs are in the FA Cup final, but for us, probably benefits us. The reason being, both the Manchester clubs making it to the FA Cup final means that the odds of the FA Cup final winner taking up the Europa League place are pretty slim, because both Manchester clubs are nailed on to get into the Champions League via the league. So that means 6th place in the Premier League will pretty much be guaranteed to now get into the Europa League next season. So unless United fall out of the top 4, which again is not going to happen at this point, both clubs will take that place, meaning 5th and 6th will now get you a Europa League place, and 7th will become the Conference League place. So even though it looks like we have a great chance now of getting 5th, because Spurs are shitting the bed, and Brighton, I think Brighton may have an end of season wobble here, I think today will have taken up a lot of psychological energy, as well as physical energy, of course, because the game went all the way to penalties. So, in a weird way, those two clubs finishing in the FA Cup final maybe done us a little favour, albeit none of us want to see the two Manchester clubs in an FA Cup final for various reasons. And can we all just take a moment to bow our heads and laugh like fuck about Spurs being the biggest bunch of overpaid prima donna clowns that the Premier League has known. Yet again, they disappoint their fans. Yet again, they are all talk. Yet again, they have their asses absolutely handed to them by a very good, very well drilled, very up for it Newcastle team. The absolute 2-8 of it. Imagine being 5-0 down in 20 minutes. You absolute clowns. Antonio Conte had this squad to a T. It is full of fair weather players. Except for Kane. Push Harry Kane aside. The rest of them, they are a disgrace. They're an embarrassment. How they can even take their wages the way that they performed is a joke. They were bitch slapped by Newcastle. And I think that will confirm to all of us that Newcastle will take that Champions League spot, right? Surely you've given up on it now. I know that there are optimistic people in our fan base, but come on. Newcastle will take the spot. And let's be honest, they deserve it. They deserve it ahead of us. I said last night I believe Newcastle will get top 4 at Heavy Metal D. Yeah, look, they deserve it. If we're being really honest about it, and we look at this in the cold light of day, they're the team that probably deserves it. We would have been, look, we'd have taken it. And we will take it if we can stumble over the line and get there, but I don't think we will. Craig, I can't accept defeat, yet I keep hopeful of Brighton and Newcastle dropping points. At this point, nothing about that Newcastle performance today, and nothing about the way the crowd was behind them, signals any intention that they're going to capitulate. They look focused, they look ready, and they look determined, and they have the look of a team who will get over the line to me. Now, if it was Spurs that were in Newcastle's position, of course, we'd be thinking differently, but I honestly feel like they're there, and they will get over the line. Do you think Newcastle will be the next Man City and go on a spending spree? No, I don't. And that's, I think, why, like, I don't want any country running football clubs. I can't say that often enough, but if one is to run a football club, is to be successful, at least Newcastle's way, I can look at it and go, you know, they haven't taken the piss. They've done what they could really afford. And you can't underestimate the work and the credit that Eddie Howe deserves for putting that Newcastle squad together and doing what they've done. So unless they suddenly start going out and dropping 3, 4, 5, 600 million over a window or two, you know, it's a lot more difficult to really be critical of what they've done, because I feel like they're where they are on merit, and yeah, I don't feel as angry about them, even if they go on and win some stuff, because I don't think they've taken the piss. There was an article today credited to 90 Min that said Liverpool expected to hold talks with representatives of, are you ready? Because this is a shocker for me, Mateo Kovacic. Never expected to read that today. Now, again, no idea if this is complete nonsense or if journalists are just trying to, you know, put some Chelsea players in the shop window. The piece goes on to say that he's 28 years of age, of course, and he's 12 months remaining on his current deal. They go on to say that Chelsea would be willing to sell in the summer if he declines an extension. And they go on to say that the agents are looking to speak to both Manchester clubs and Liverpool as well. Now, one thing I'll say about Mateo Kovacic, because I don't believe that we're interested, but one thing I will say, and I have to be fair about this, is I undervalued him and underestimated him when he went to Chelsea. He's a far better player than I gave him credit for. And for that, I hold my hands up. But I still don't think there's any truth to Liverpool being in for him. It's not a very Jurgen Klopp FSG type of signing. I think if you're going to push the boat out age-wise and look to bring in somebody over 26, you got to look at Palhinha from Fulham, right? Who's 27 and full of energy. So that's, for me, that would make more sense. But also Chelsea have to sell. As I've said to you, they have to sell and move on players because of their FFP stuff. And also, another article today suggested that one of the players that Chelsea are going to be unwilling to listen to offers for is Levi Colwill. And I wonder, and again, I'm just thinking out loud here. I wonder would that be because let's say Pochettino takes the job and he comes into Chelsea. Might he know that he's not going to have money for signings and then look at the likes of Colwell and said, well, he could be a big player for us. He could be somebody he could utilise in a number of positions, and the club just about want to let him go. So that would make sense to me, because if I was coming into Chelsea, he's certainly somebody that I'd be saying to the board, I don't want you to sell. I want to move back to yesterday for a little minute if I can. How do you feel about yesterday's performance now that you've all had a night to sleep on it? Because it was worrisome in some regard, but it was also really positive in another regard. So defensively, it was concerning, right? Because we dominated the game, lots of possession, lots of territory, and yet we conceded 2 goals. So defensively, there's a worry there. But at the other end of the pitch, we're looking sharp, right? Diogo Jota is in unbelievable form right now. Mohamed Salah, and I cannot stop going on about this goal because everything about Salah's goal yesterday I loved. The determination, the physical strength, the in off the post, everything. I loved it. I thought he was brilliant. And again, he now becomes 6th on the all-time scoring list for Liverpool Football Club, level with Robbie Fowler, having played an awful lot of games less. So, again, massive shout out and admiration to Mohamed Salah for everything he's doing at the football club. He's one of those players that even I will have to admit, I'm probably not appreciating him enough while he's here. And I need to give my head a wobble on that. And it happens to me with loads of players, by the way. It's not a Mohamed Salah thing. But yeah, he is supreme. He is amazing. And we are witnessing a real great of our club. And we've had a few of them. I thought Ibu was shaky yesterday. So was Virgil. I'm getting concerned about Virgil. I don't think you're the only one, Maddie. Virgil came out today actually speaking about vibes in the squad and speaking about Mohamed Salah a little bit. But yeah, something doesn't look right there with Virg. Now, again, we are used to seeing an imperious Virgil van Dijk for many years. And the part that gets me is, for the first time, I'm really starting to wonder if he doesn't trust his body. Because I keep talking to you guys about the little pushing thing with his hand. To me, that's because I don't know if he relies on that extra quick step or that burst of pace. I could be reading too much into this, but nothing about the way he's shaping up his body these days and the way he's defending makes me feel comfortable. And I don't know how Canade was brushed off the ball so easily yesterday by forwards half his size at times. That was worrying as well. Gvardiol and Kim Min-jae incoming. Sorry, I'm going to rain on your parade a little bit now. Around the Josko Gvardiol thing, unfortunately, because Football Insider did a piece where they've said that Liverpool are no longer considering Gvardiol as a top target because of his price tag. And they say that Leipzig are demanding close to £80 million for his services. So that's look, let's be honest, we don't need to be spending £80 million on a centre-back. We don't. We're not in a position where we have to replace Virg or we haven't got Canade. We're looking for somebody to come in and challenge for the 3rd spot, maybe a 2nd spot if Matip moves on. And I don't think we're in a position to be talking about dropping 80 million quid, especially when there are better value options out there. Ndika on a free, Timber maybe from Ajax at a more reasonable fee, Inacio from Sporting, and some other targets around Europe as well. So yeah, Gvardiol, I think we can say au revoir. Although I don't know why we'd be speaking French. Gotta love that we drop out of races because of money. Look, that's the one part of FSG I think every single one of us will agree on, is that they're fairly stingy with the old wallet. £80 million for a centre-back. What are we, Manchester United? I know. Manchester United's 80 million centre-back, by the way, not even getting on the pitch today after his exploits in the Europa League. Captain, oh my captain, my captain. He's so shit. I can't believe we're likely to be in the Europa League. Well, look, I'm all right with the Europa League for a season. It's not great. Like, we won Champions League, there's no denying that, but I really did worry for a while that we may end up in the Conference League, and Jesus Christ, there's no way. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to watch the Conference League with Liverpool in it. It would just be all kinds of wrong. Craig, I'm sick and tired of Jurgen not starting Darwin the last few games. How do I feel about that? I feel like I understand why Jurgen Klopp isn't starting him. Once Jurgen Klopp explained it, I understood it. Before Klopp explained it, I was wondering what the hell was going on, but Klopp said very clearly that if you aren't fully up to speed with counter pressing, you ain't going to be playing. And he feels that Darwin right now isn't fully up to speed with the counter press, and that Jota is, and that's why Jota's been playing. And I understand that from Klopp. And again, it's very hard to say the man's been wrong when Diogo Jota scored 4 in the last 2. So, I mean, ideally it'd be great, but, let's be fair about it. A lot of the times we moan because we don't get information, but we got information from Klopp about why Darwin isn't seen as much starting time as we would have liked or expected, and I think it's a fair response from the manager. Same goes for Carvalho. He's not ready to be starting yet. Yeah, but he's also not getting a chance. Like, at least we can say Darwin's had opportunities. Whether he's taken them opportunities or not, I guess, is up for debate. I think he's had a fine first season, Darwin. Yeah, I think he's had a grand first season. I certainly wouldn't be putting him in the flop category or anything like it. Do you think a midfield of Gravenberch, Bajcetic and Bellingham would be good? I'm on the fence about Gravenberch. I wonder, is there a soft side to Gravenberch's psyche? That's okay, by the way. I mean, Jesus. I don't mean that to come across like I'm trying to say some cowering little coward. I mean, I don't know him well enough. I haven't watched his career enough to know about that side of him. From a footballing perspective and a skill level and from the physical attributes and all that stuff, yeah, look, it should be a match made in heaven. And at 25 million quid, I think it'd be worth a roll of the dice no matter what, if that was the case. Hello, man. How are you doing? I'm good, thank you. I was wondering, who would you rather win the FA Cup? United to stop City possibly winning a treble, or City because you despise United? I would rather Manchester United win the FA Cup because at least I have a begrudging respect for them. I cannot stand what City are doing to football and the moments of joy that they are taking away from fans up and down the country, around the world. I'm happy to have banter with United fans because it's coming from a good place. What City are doing, it disgusts me more than I can even put into words. Like, it makes my blood boil. So, as much as it would kill me to see United lift another trophy, at least I can respect it. At least I can look at it and go, all right, well, they won it. Tough shit, us, not great. But with City, it makes me angry every time I see them celebrate anything because we know. And look, I understand why people think differently, by the way. I'm not trying to say I'm right and you're wrong, but I was asked the question, I answered it, and I answered it as honestly as I can. Like, if United were playing Arsenal, I'd be sitting here screaming for Arsenal to win it in the FA Cup final. But City, you know how I feel about City. I've never hidden it. They're irrelevant. They shouldn't be where they are. They should be relegated. They should be punished into obscurity. But let's wait and see. Yeah, as Folcom said, at least United are a legit club. As I said about United's treble, it was a real treble. It was a treble built off doing things in the right way. It was a treble built off the history of a club, a fan base, a sheer will to win, and it was a real treble. And City's treble, don't care. No, not even going to acknowledge it if they do it in my head because I don't give a shit. So yeah, the respect with United I have is there. It's there because we're two sides of a coin, We're two huge historic clubs, and I respect what they do. I respect their fans, and I enjoy the banter and I enjoy the back and forth. And there's no underlying malice in my interactions with the United fans I've had over the years. It's always fun. And City, I don't want to go on about it. You know what I mean? Where do you think Kane goes next season if he does? United. Because he's as close to a guarantee as you can get. And you could talk about United and Osimhen or United and elsewhere, but United need somebody who's going to put that roundy thing in the back of the net minimum 30 times in a season. And they know that with Harry Kane, they're getting that. So I think United. And I think it's the right move as well. I think it'd be the right move for him, the right move for United. And I think it would give United that short-term foundation to re-establish themselves back regularly in the Champions League, challenging domestically for more stuff under Ten Hag. I just think it's a perfect fit. but for a shorter period of time than you would get if you spent the money elsewhere. Does that make sense? Like, I wouldn't be wanting Liverpool to do the deal for Kane, because I think it would be too short-term thinking for the way we operate as a club. But United have so much money and cash generated, they can afford to be a bit shorter-term thinking and afford to throw their weight around a bit more financially. Don't trust Jack Talbot. Look, I get it. And I, to some extent, don't trust a lot of the stuff that comes from Christian Falk, because I've been honest and said he's up and down. But I don't think you need to necessarily just trust one person in this. You have to, in my opinion, just try and look at the information I've given you, the information that every set of journalists have put out there, even the ones that say Liverpool have walked away, and try and piece it together and try and find rhyme or reason as to why any of it has happened. And the only conclusion that I can come to is that Liverpool don't want to be held to ransom. That's where my head's at. And couple that with what I know and the stuff that's been written, and it just makes sense. Because I have to go back to what I said the night that Liverpool walked away. Why? Why brief the public? Why brief journalists that you're walking away? What's the upside of it? There's no upside. There's no upshot. There's no positive from Liverpool's perspective whatsoever. It lets other clubs know that you probably have more money because you're not going for Bellingham. So you can't even say, well, look, we've a load of money going on this, so our budget is this. They know now, well, you don't, so you've got a pool of money. It would publicly undermine everything that you've spoken to the players' camp about. It doesn't make sense. They didn't do it to be transparent with the fans. Fuck off. When have Liverpool ever been transparent with the fans? See, that's bullshit. Name me another one that Liverpool have come out and said, we're not signing. Do you know what I mean? Transparent with the fans. Come on. That's nonsense. There's no way Liverpool are going to come out and be transparent with the fans. The fuckers have spent 2 years dangling Jude Bellingham over us. And now it's transparency. Come on, dude. If you had said they were testing the reaction to see what the fan base reacted like, maybe. But the transparency bit, nah. Nothing about FSG and caring springs to mind.